The big R word is recession. Now, I know, the word recession strikes fear in a lot of people. It's all over the news. You see people getting really scared about it. But let's first talk about what is a recession, and then what can you do about living in a recession. So stay tuned and we'll talk all about that. How's it going? My name is Eric. They call me the CashFlow Doctor. I run an accounting and tax firm for small business owners and for crypto and NFT related companies. I've been in the tax space for the last 13 years, and I've been an entrepreneur since 97, since I graduated from high school. And if I learned anything from my vast experience, and I have the white hairs and hair's falling out, so ignore any bald spots here. But if I've learned anything from all of these years, is that the economy is a cyclical thing, right? You have your booms and your bust moments. Now, there are two major recessions that I've lived through in the past. And we've had some smaller, minor ones, but the two major ones in 2001 and 2008. Now, if you remember 2001, when 2001 hit, it was the dot-com era. 9/11 happened, the bubble of the stock market burst, and we were struggling for 2 years. 2008 was when we had the subprime mortgage crisis, the bubble that popped, and then we had Lehman Brothers and all those companies collapse as well. So what is actually recession? What does it actually mean? Because I obviously survived a recession. I didn't die. So hearing the word recession doesn't strike fear in my heart, but I'm sure for many of you who might not have experienced it, it might be an uneasy time. We got a lot of other things going on right now. We have supply chain issues, rising inflation, we have job instability. So I'm sure that many of you, just like myself, are kind of feeling a little uneasy about this. But what is a recession? First of all, the dictionary definition of recession is 2 consecutive quarters in a year where GDP is at a negative amount. So that's the dictionary definition of what we call a recession. So let's say quarter one of 2022, let's say the GDP was negative 1.4, and quarter two of 2022, the GDP was negative 2.5. By definition, by the dictionary definition, we're technically in a recession. What does that really even mean, right? A lot of us feel like we've been in economic challenges prior to these last 2 quarters. We all remember the struggles and challenges we had during 2020 for COVID and then 2021. So how's this now being a recession? So there's actually this bureau or this board of old grizzled economic veterans that say, well, the definition of a recession isn't necessarily just 2 quarters of GDP. GDP is actually a moving target. What a lot of people don't realize is GDP numbers can be revised. It is a slim number right now in terms of GDP. Let's say it's negative 1.4. It's entirely possible that a year or two from now, new updated data, they might actually revisit those numbers and say, oh, this GDP is actually 1.4, not negative 1.4. That quarterly basis based on just 2 numbers is something that is kind of inaccurate. There's also other economists that look at it from a monthly basis as opposed to a quarterly basis, meaning, let's say January and February, we actually were up, and then March was down, and then let's say that becomes a net negative, and then if you look at the second quarter, and you have April is down, but then you have May and June that's up, but it's still net negative, we've only had a recession for 2 months technically as opposed to 2 quarters. It's a lot of words, a lot of terminology, and how does that affect us? Really, at the end of the day, what a recession really means is it's a time frame where our budgets are tighter than they were before, and we're experiencing that right now. With these recessionary fears, we have inflation going up with the cost of gas, supply chain challenges, food costs going up, housing costs going up. We have stagnating wages. So that's, for us, how do we feel recession is we feel it in our pocketbook. We have less money to spend, even though we might have technically more money. And it's kind of like in line with inflation. And then you also hear folks being fearful of depression. Depression is a vastly different situation. One guy jokes that recession is when my neighbor loses a job, depression is when I lose mine. Another joke is recession is when I gotta tighten my belt, depression is when I don't even have a belt to tighten at all. So depression is a vastly different situation, which I don't foresee us to hit that sort of a challenge like we did in the Great Depression. Depression is where people are losing their jobs hand over fist. The monetary policy is terrible hand over fist. There's no money flowing through the system. People are losing everything. Now, could we get to that point? I don't know, maybe. But let's just talk about how to survive a recession. You know, I've lived through the 2001 and 2008 one. I'm gonna share more of my stories in the next future videos. But a couple things that you wanna look out for. First thing is cut all unnecessary expenses. Go through your bills. If you're not using Netflix or Hulu or all these things, end those subscriptions, right? You're just burning money. Push off any luxury purchases into the future. Like right now, my son and I are looking to purchase him another vehicle, another car. And we've actually been looking at Porsche Caymans. You could buy a pretty nicely outfitted one for about $25,000 to $26,000. But do we really need that car right now? We don't. So we're actually saving our money and putting it to the side to buy it down the road when the market starts shifting a little bit. Maybe if the market was to decrease, the used car market is very hot right now. It's kind of irrational. So we're saving our purchases till later and we're stockpiling cash. The second thing is have a rainy day fund, and that's part of the stocking cash. If you were to lose your job or your main source of income, do you at least have a couple months of runway, or basically what we call in the financial word, burn rate? What is your burn rate? What is your runway? How much do you have to be able to see you through the next couple months if you were to lose your sources of income? So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is to look at finding other ways of creating streams of income. Adding additional income to your household is always a powerful thing, but in a recession, it's even more impactful. So certain things that I tend to do is, or I like to do, I go look through my garage of things that I haven't utilized and sell that on eBay. Sometimes there might be opportunities to do things on a wholesale level and sell it in bulk on eBay. That's one of the things that I do. I have friends that they do some catering or cooking on the side or photography on the side. Creating a stream of income will allow you to have some additional runway and also some additional peace of mind. Because really at the end of the day, when you go into a recession, there's this economic challenge, but there's also a psychological challenge. If you could get through this without having this notion of fear or tightness with your finances, you're gonna be much better off than a lot of the other folks out there that are sitting on the sidelines twiddling their thumbs. Now, are there investment opportunities? Are there things you could do in a recession to grow your wealth? Absolutely, we'll talk about those in a future video. But today I just wanna talk about what the difference is, or what is a recession. Anyway, my name is Eric. They call me the CashFlow Doctor. I hope this video was helpful for you to understand this a little bit more. And I'm gonna share some more of my stories of how I got through this in future videos. With that said, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. And with that said, I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.